I started dancing when I was about 6, 7, because in Canada, in Quebec, we all grow up ballroom dancing. We all kind of do social dancing. It's kind of like in the nature, kind of more like European. So I actually don't remember. I was very young and I was going out dancing and learning how to cha-cha and line dancing and all that stuff, round dancing. It's very popular there. So I danced pretty much all my life, really, since I was born.
Richard is a warm spirit, and he's very giving, he's very caring, he cares about all his students, and he motivates them.
I think Richard's a great example of a good teacher. It first of all takes patience, it takes insight, not just to the craft of dancing, I think it takes insight into human beings.
I think Richard inspires everybody. I think Richard shows people that it doesn't matter what's wrong with you.
I want to discover things and learn things. And that's sort of the reason I love to teach, because I myself love to learn different feelings or do different life situations. So that's why I think I like to teach my students, to make them enjoy different aspects of life and feeling. I lived in a small town. My parents were actually pretty poor. We actually slept like 2 or 3 in a room. You know, I have 5 siblings, so there's 6 of us. So, I mean, all I remember, and my mom hates me for it, is like, why are we so poor? Why are we so poor? I used to always say that because, you know, I wanted to have nice clothes, I wanted to do nice things, but we had no money to do anything. When I was young, I hated it, really. I hated every minute of it because I was beaten up at school, we didn't have any money, and I was short and I was fat, so it was not too fun. Because I'm from Canada and everybody hockey play, and I wasn't interested. So when I was 15 years old, I was old enough to do it myself and pay for it, so I went. You know, I got beaten, I got laughed at, I got pushed, you know. Everything happened because boys don't skate. You know, in a small village, boys are supposed to play hockey. I always say, you know, it feels like I was born at the wrong place, at the wrong time. My parents were not there money-wise, they were not there emotionally, they were not there monetarily, they were not there in any ways. They never supported me, they never asked me, what did you do today or anything. They were too busy surviving. I used to say, I'm going to take a plane, travel far away, and I'm never going to come back.
Dorothy, Dorothy. Icecapades presents Dorothy Hamill.
You know, I was in college at that time in a big city. I was studying accounting. Icecapades came in and they had auditions. So I auditioned and I was accepted. And so I just signed up, finished my degree and packed and left. Once we toured, I went back to, not my hometown, but where I went to college, Sherbrooke University. And so it was fun because then they had like buses from my little village that came up. All my family, uncle and aunt and friends from school and everything came to see me. And that was actually really fun. The mayor gave me the, you know, like the key of the town, and I had the newspaper article, you know, so for like 5 minutes I was popular. So all the years that I made holes in the ice, you know, and all the hockey players were upset at me, and at least now I kind of got, so to speak, my revenge. I made it. When I was on the tour, I met some people from Los Angeles, and, you know, I kind of got friendly with these 2 girls from LA. And they said, oh, you know, why don't you come and, you know, visit and stay with us? You know, you can stay with my dad, you know, maybe you can work for him. He has a store, a leather store at Knott's Berry Farm. So I says, okay. So I came, and actually at that time during the tour, I was kind of dating her. She had a boyfriend at home. She was kind of dating both of us. I knew, but he didn't know, so I had to hide and everything. It got pretty messy. I mean, I got very depressed because she was like, well, my boyfriend knows now and my dad is upset, so, you know, he doesn't want you to work for the store anymore, so it's better for us now that you move out of the house. In one shot, my life fell apart. No more work, no more place to live, no more love. I mean, I lost everything. Did I want to go back to a small village where everybody beat me up and laughed at me? I went to a park in Orange County area at that time, and I had a truck from the Father Lumiere truck, and I put a hose to the gas. Of course, it's also a cry for help, because you wouldn't commit suicide if you feel powerful and empowered and strong. So you're helpless, so you don't know what to do, and you think it will never get better. I woke up in the emergency room, and then all I can remember is the nurse saying, "Oh, you're so cute, you're so gentle, why did you try to do it?" and everything. And I mean, it's a long story, but I was there for like quite a few days, because you know, you learn really quick. Once you're in the Looney Tune, you're in the hospital, the crazy house, you actually cannot get out right away. And this lady offered me to go to live in her house when I got out of the hospital.
And she told me that she had a roommate that was an excellent ice skater who loved to dance. And at that point, I was actually looking for a new teacher. So I asked her to ask him to come in and see me. So as soon as he came in to see me, we just really hit it off. He was obviously from Canada, and his main priority then was skating, but he was also a pretty good dancer at the time.
A free dance lesson. That was what drew me into Lundance Studio. And Pat, the owner of the studio, interviewed me and says, "Oh yes, I've got a good teacher for you." She says, "Richard." And here comes this little boy loping over. Looked like he was about 15, maybe 18 years old. And I was horrified. I mean, here I am, an older woman, a mature woman, and here comes this little boy who's going to teach me something. He turned out to be exceptional, and he talked me into staying, and I had the lesson. Then I signed up for more. I stayed with him for 25 years.
And that's how I actually first got involved with ballroom dancing. As a teacher, I ballroom danced all my life. And then I kind of built my career, and I was able to move out of there and then make a living.
On his birthday, I think it was his 22nd or 23rd birthday, myself and all of his students, we planned to buy him a VCR, which he had never had. Always wanted one, but never could afford one. In those days, they were probably about $600, so it was a lot of money. So what I did, I had all the students hide in the back, where we had like a back room refrigerator. So I made him walk back into the back room, and there was probably, I don't know, about 15, 20 of his students there. And he screamed because they scared him. It was all in the dark, it was after work. And that everybody was there, and he just cried. He cried his eyes out because he'd got a VCR and all these people. He never had a big birthday like that. Richard got very close to one of his students. Her name is Roberta.
When I came to the studio, I wanted to learn how to dance, and I wasn't interested in competing. I was very conservative, so to be able to dress up and be something else was something that helped me to get out of my shell. And we started competing. That's when it really hit me that, wow, I can dance.
Roberta was one of my first really serious students, and then we competed, and she actually was a very good dancer.
During the course of the dancing and learning about him, I fell in love with him, and we ended up getting married. To me, it was one of the most memorable days. I mean, he cried, I cried when we were exchanging vows and everything. And we didn't have much, but we had a small apartment, and I don't know, I was happy.
He has the innate ability to diagnose what you're doing wrong. And after 5 years, I still learn something new at every lesson. It's amazing. I've seen Richard when he teaches me. I've seen Richard when he teaches a lot of his different pupils. He teaches us all differently because it's not a book that you can read and do it that way. It's something that has to be emotional, it has to be sensual, it has to be physical, it has to be so many aspects of what we are. So he encompasses all of that.
We giggle and laugh, and he yells at us and teaches us technique, but there's a friendship there. There's a respect, and there's caring, and I think all Richard's students feel about him the same way. But I am very attached to Richard, and I've been dancing with him all this time because it's not just a dance teacher, it's not just the steps, it's not just, oh gee, look, we're winning at all these competitions. It's not about that. It's the relationship. He's been a part of our family for 19 years, and it's been wonderful to be with him and dance with him. I've enjoyed him so much.
My business partner at the time was a gentleman called Martin Blaney, who I had actually come over from England with to open a studio here.
He was kind of like, he was national champion, and he did that with his students a lot. He competed professionally and with students, and he had a lot of good students. He was known.
And Martin was also an amazing dancer, one of the best ballroom dancers in England at that time. And he and Richard became very good friends, as we all did.
So he was kind of very flamboyant and out there, and I guess he got a liking to me.
Next thing I know, Richard and Roberta are divorcing, and Richard has a relationship with one of the other dancers there, Martin.
There was definitely a little triangle going there at the time.
I had an affair with him, and then, you know, he wanted to leave his lover, you know, and I would leave Roberta and we would go together.
I came from a small town, so I wasn't really familiar with homosexuality. When Richard finally admitted that he was gay, it was hard on me mentally because I thought, what did I do wrong?
He wanted to come out and be gay and be openly gay, that everybody knew, that he didn't have to hide it.
The first question they always asked me, well, did you know he was gay when I married him? And I was like, no, I didn't know he was gay. Sometimes they're born with those feelings, but because he was born Catholic, they thought he was going to be a priest. And he had the thoughts, I guess, pushed down the feelings. We had an active sex life, so that's what was very confusing to me also. I was in love with him. We consummated our marriage, and I said, and I was pregnant twice, and never was able to carry. I would get comments from some of his students like, well, if he had dated me or he had been married to me, he wouldn't have been gay. So obviously it was messy. It was a big mess.
And he, in turn, had a very long relationship with Martin Blaney.
I used to tell myself it would be easier if it was another woman. It was something I could combat. I can't combat being in love with another man. After the therapy and realizing that it didn't matter that it was a man or a woman, he fell in love with someone else, and that's what hurt.
We've been through some times in our friendship when he came out being gay and being involved with Roberta, his wife. I was close to her too. So it was kind of a messy situation. We were not close at all for a couple of years, but then, like everything, time heals everything.
I don't believe in people that are married and suddenly they get divorced that hate each other. I don't believe in that. I mean, I don't see how you can love somebody and then hate them 24 hours later.
Why we started talking again, why, because after that we became really good friends, and I started dancing, competing with him again, and I traveled a lot of different places with him for competitions and for vacations.
It was difficult, you know, obviously, but I mean, now we're good friends, we're best friends.